यो समयमा हामी सबैजना सफल सेवाका विषयमा कुरा गर्न गइरहेका छौँ।
At this time, everyone, we're going to be looking into successful ministry.
यो कोरोना भाइरसको कारणले गर्दाखेरि हामीले एकले अर्कालाई प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा देख्न नसके तापनि हामी यो CLF अनलाइन मार्फत गर्दैछौँ।
Due to the coronavirus, we're not able to see each other face by face. However, we are doing this CLF through the online.
म परमेश्वरप्रति एकदमै धन्यवाद छु कि हामी अनलाइन मार्फत यसरी संगति गर्न पाएका छौँ।
And I'm so thankful to the grace of God that we're able to share this time together through online.
सर्वप्रथम हामी यूहन्ना 10 अध्यायबाट हेर्नेछौँ।
First, let's look into the words of John chapter 10.
यूहन्ना 10 अध्यायको 1 देखि 18 पदसम्म हामी हेर्नेछौँ।
We'll read John chapter 10 from verse 1 through 8.
साँच्चै म तिमीहरूलाई भन्दछु, जो भेडा गोठको ढोकाबाट भित्र पस्दैन तर अर्कोपट्टिबाट चढेर पस्छ, त्यो चाहिँ चोर र डाकु हो।
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, or climbeth but some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
तर ढोकाबाट भित्र पस्ने चाहिँ भेडा गोठालो हो।
But he that entereth in by the door of the shepherd of the sheep.
ढोकेले उसको लागि ढोका खोलिदिन्छ र भेडाहरूले उसको स्वर सुन्छन् र उसले आफ्ना भेडाहरूलाई नाउँ काडी काडी बोलाउँछन् अनि तिनीहरूलाई बाहिर लैजान्छन्।
To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and lendeth them out.
जब उसले आफ्ना सबै भेडाहरूलाई बाहिर निकालिसक्छ, ऊ तिनीहरूका अघि हिँड्छ र भेडाहरूले उसलाई पछ्याउँछन्, किनभने तिनीहरूले उसको स्वर चिन्छन्।
And when he put forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, and for they know his voice.
तर अपरिचित व्यक्तिलाई तिनीहरू पछ्याउँदैनन्, तर त्यसदेखि भाग्नेछन्, किनभने अपरिचित व्यक्तिको स्वर तिनीहरूले चिन्दैनन्।
A stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, and they know not the voice of the strangers.
यसुले तिनीहरूलाई यो दृष्टान्त भन्नुभयो, तर उहाँले तिनीहरूलाई भन्नुभएको कुरा तिनीहरूले बुझेनन्।
This parable spake Jesus unto them, for they understood not what things which were spake unto them.
यस कारण यसुले फेरि तिनीहरूलाई भन्नुभयो, साँच्चै म तिमीहरूलाई भन्दछु, भेडाहरूको ढोका मै हुँ।
Then said Jesus unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep.
मभन्दा अघि आउने सबै चोर र डाकुहरू हुन्, तर भेडाहरूले तिनीहरूका कुरा सुनेनन्।
All they that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them.
ढोका म नै हुँ, यदि कोही मानिस मबाट भित्र पस्यो भने त्यो बचाइनेछ र भित्र बाहिर आउने जाने गर्नेछन् र खड्गमा चर्न पाउनेछ।
I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, then he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.
चोर त चोर्न, मार्न र नाश पार्न मात्र आउँछ, त म त तिनीहरूले जीवन पाउन् र त्यो प्रशस्त मात्रामा पाउन् भन्ने हेतुले आए।
The thief cometh not, but for steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might live, have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
म असल गोठालो हुँ, असल गोठालोले आफ्ना भेडाहरूका निम्ति आफ्नो प्राण अर्पण गर्छ।
I am the good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
भाडाको मान्छे चाहिँ भेडाहरूको आफ्नै गोठालो जस्तो होइन, त्यसले त बुवासालाई आएको देखेर भेडालाई छोडी त्यो भाग्छ र बुवासाले भेडालाई गाँजी लैजान्छ र तितर पितर पारिदिन्छ।
But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep.
त्यो भाग्छ, किनभने त्यो भाडाको मान्छे हो, त्यसले भेडाको केही वास्ता गर्दैन।
The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling, and careth not for the sheep.
म असल गोठालो हुँ, म आफ्ना भेडालाई चिन्छु अनि मेरा भेडाहरूले मलाई चिन्छन्।
I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine.
जसरी पिताले मलाई चिन्नुहुन्छ, म पितालाई चिन्छु अनि म भेडाहरूको लागि आफ्नो प्राण अर्पण दिन्छु।
As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep.
मेरा अरू भेडाहरू छन् जो यस गोठका होइनन्, तिनीहरूलाई पनि मैले ल्याउनु परेको छ र तिनीहरूले मेरो स्वर सुनेछन् र तिनीहरू एउटै बगाल हुनेछन् र एउटै गोठालो हुनेछ।
And other sheep have I, are not at this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and they shall be one fold and one shepherd.
पिताले मलाई यसै कारण प्रेम गर्नुहुन्छ, किनकि म आफ्नो प्राण फेरि फिर्ता लिने हेतुले अर्पण गर्छु।
Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I might take it again.
कसैले मबाट मेरो प्राण लिन सक्दैन, तर म आफ्नै इच्छाले आफ्नो प्राण अर्पण गर्दछु। आफ्नो प्राण अर्पण गर्ने अधिकार मसित छ अनि फेरि लिने अधिकार पनि मसित छ। यो आज्ञा मैले मेरा पिताबाट पाएको छु।
No man taketh it from me, and I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father.
हामी सँगै सफल सेवाका विषयमा कुरा गर्न गइरहेका छौँ।
We're going to be discussing on successful ministry together.
त्यो साँचो गोठालो जो चाहिँ सफल हुनुहुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ।
The true shepherd that has been successful is Jesus Christ.
येशू ख्रीष्टले भन्नुभएको छ म चाहिँ असल गोठालो हुँ।
As Jesus Christ kindly said, he says that I am the good shepherd.
उहाँले त्यो भाडाका मान्छेको विषयमा पनि उल्लेख गर्नुभएको छ।
And he also had mentioned about the hirelings.
त्यहाँनिर असल गोठालो हुन्छ जुन येशू ख्रीष्ट यस संसारमा हुनुहुन्छ।
There is the good shepherd, which is Jesus Christ inside this world.
तर त्यहाँनिर भाडाका मान्छेहरू पनि यस संसारमा छन्।
But there are also the hirelings of this world.
हामी चाहिँ त्यो भेडा गोठालो हौँ जसले चाहिँ ती यो संसारका भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर्छौँ।
Even we are the shepherds who are taking care of the sheep of this world.
यद्यपि हामीले एकले अर्कालाई प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा देख्न नसके तापनि हामीले यो सफल सेवाका विषयमा छलफल गर्न गइरहेका छौँ।
Even though we cannot see each other face to face, but we have gained this time to be able to discuss about successful ministry.
हाम्रो लागि त्यो साँचो गोठालो विषयमा सिक्नको निम्ति चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ।
And for us to truly learn about the true shepherd, who is Jesus Christ.
र हामीले यो समय पनि कसरी त्यो साँचो गोठालो हुने भन्ने विषयमा सिक्नेछौँ।
And we will also share the time for all of us to learn how to become the true shepherds.
आजको हाम्रो पहिलो कक्षा भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि आज हामी कसरी हामी त्यो साँचो गोठालो हुने विषयमा सिक्नेछौँ।
So today is the first session, and we'll be thinking about the true shepherd, who is Jesus Christ.
मैले यो वचन प्रचार गर्ने मौका पाए जस्तै
As I gained the opportunity to give this lecture,
मैले चाहिँ त्यो सफल सेवकाईको उपनाम पाएको छु।
I received the title of successful ministry.
मलाई अलिकति शङ्का पनि लागेको थियो मैले यो विषयमा वचन दिन सक्छु कि सक्दिनँ।
And I truly thought and doubted whether I would be able to give a lecture on this.
अनि हाम्रो सेवकाईको निम्ति सफल हुनका निम्ति मैले के गर्नुपर्छ,
What do we need to do in order to become successful in our ministry?
मैले यो विषयमा सोचेर बाइबलमा पनि हेरेँ।
So as I thought and also looked through the Bible,
त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ साँच्चै नै त्यो साँचो गोठालो हुनुहुन्छ।
there was truly a successful shepherd.
यो सेवकाई भन्ने शब्द
And so the word ministry
पास्टर, एल्डर, डिकन भएर चर्चको व्यवस्थापन गर्ने कुरामा पनि
in regards of having to manage the church with pastors and also with elders and of deacons,
पूर्ण रूपमा हेर्दाखेरि चर्चको सम्पूर्ण व्यवस्थापन गर्ने काम चाहिँ पास्टरीय काम हो।
so the overall activity of having to look over it and manage the church, we call that pastorship.
कुनै पनि सिद्धान्तमा आधारित बसेर र कसरी चर्चलाई व्यवस्थापन गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने कुराहरू सिक्नुको सट्टामा
And so rather than taking this time for us to learn about some doctrine and also some technique for us to manage the church well,
तर साँच्चै नै यो साँचो सेवकाईको मतलब चाहिँ के हो त?
but truly what does it mean to have a successful ministry?
मानिसहरूले त्यो सफल सेवकाई गर्ने कुरा पनि कुन बाटो रोज्दैछ त्यसमा भर पर्दछ।
And the people who have been successful in their ministry, what path have they taken?
यो समयमा हामी ती विषयहरूमा कुरा गर्नेछौँ र बाइबल मार्फत हामी सँगै खोज्नेछौँ।
And so we want to take this time to think about those things and look through the Bible together.
सबैजना कृपया साँचो सफल पास्टर चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ।
Everyone, the truly successful pastor is Jesus Christ.
येशू ख्रीष्टले भन्नुभयो जसै
As Jesus Christ, he kindly says,
उहाँले भन्नुभयो कि म चाहिँ असल गोठालो हुँ।
he says, I am the good shepherd.
यदि तपाईँले यूहन्ना 10:11 पदमा हेर्नुहुन्छ भने
If you look at John chapter 10, verse 11,
म असल गोठालो हुँ। असल गोठालोले आफ्ना भेडाहरूका निम्ति आफ्नो प्राण अर्पण गर्छ।
it says, I am the good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
यो चाहिँ बाइबलीय स्तरको असल गोठालो हो।
This is the biblical standard of a good shepherd.
उहाँले भन्नुभएको छ मैले चाहिँ भेडाहरूको निम्ति मेरो जीवन अर्पण गरेको छु।
He says, for I have given my life for the sheep.
त्यहाँनिर अर्को ठाउँमा हेर्ने भने त्यहाँनिर भाडाका मान्छेहरू पनि छन्।
But on the other hand, there are also the hirelings.
भाडाको मान्छे चाहिँ भेडाहरूको आफ्नै गोठालो जस्तो होइन, त्यसले त ब्वासोलाई आएको देखेर भेडालाई छोडी त्यो भाग्छ र ब्वासोले भेडालाई गाजी लैजान्छ र तित्रबित्र पारिदिन्छ।
But he, verse 12, but he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them and scattereth the sheep.
त्यसो भने असल गोठालो र भाडाको मान्छेमा के फरक छ त?
What is the standard between a good shepherd and the hireling?
सबैजना यसको मतलब के थ्योलोजी कलेजहरूबाट विद्यावारिधि हासिल गर्ने हो र?
Everyone, is it that we have to come out and graduate from a good theology school?
अथवा राम्रो काम प्रस्तुत गर्ने हो?
Or must we present good and also greater work?
अथवा येशू ख्रीष्ट जस्तै जसले आफ्नो भेडाको निम्ति आफ्नो जीवन अर्पण गर्नुभयो?
Or just like the image of Jesus Christ, who gave his own life for that of his friends?
बाइबलभित्र विस्तृत रूपमा कसरी सफल सेवकको जिन्दगी जिउन सकिन्छ भन्ने बाटो देखाइएको छ।
Inside the Bible records precisely the path on how to live successful ministry.
र त्यसै गरी भाडाका मान्छेहरूको विषयमा पनि विस्तृत रूपमा बताइएको छ।
It also precisely describes on the life of the hireling.
म चाहिँ असल गोठालो हुँ।
I am the good shepherd.
उहाँले भन्नुभएको छ कि मैले भेडाहरूको निम्ति मेरो प्राण अर्पण गरेको छु।
He says, for I give it my life for the sheep.
भाडाका मान्छेको कुरा गर्ने हो भने जब ब्वासोहरू आउँछन् उनीहरू भागेर जान्छन्।
However, the hirelings, whenever the wolves come, they run away.
त्यहाँ धेरै मानिसहरू छन् जसले चाहिँ आफ्नो लागि सेवकको जिन्दगी जिरहेका छन्।
There are many people who live the life of the ministry for their own selves.
अनि उनीहरूले आफ्नो फाइदाको लागि भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर्ने गर्दछन्।
And so they would take care of the sheep whenever it's a benefit to them.
तर यदि त्यहाँनिर आफ्नो व्यक्तिगत फाइदा नहुने हो भने उनीहरूले ती भेडाहरूबाट भागेर त्यहाँबाट छोडेर जान्छन्।
But if it will not benefit in any way, then they will scatter and throw away and flee from the sheep.
हाम्रो वरिपरि त्यहाँ धेरै सेवकहरू छन्।
There are many ministers around us.
यो हाम्रो लागि पनि असल गोठालो हो या झुटो गोठालो हो भन्ने कुरा छुटाउन पनि एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्छ।
It's actually very difficult for us to distinguish whether there may be the true shepherds or the false one.
यद्यपि त्यहाँ त्यस्तो व्यक्तिहरू छन् जसले आफ्नो भेडाको निम्ति जीवन अर्पण गर्छन्।
However, there are those who give their own lives for the sheep.
त्यहाँ अर्को किसिमको गोठालोहरू छन् जो चाहिँ भेडाहरूलाई छोडेर जान्छन्।
And there are those who would go and flee from the sheep.
त्यसो भने येशू ख्रीष्ट कस्तो किसिमको गोठालो हुनुहुन्छ?
So what kind of shepherd was Jesus?
उहाँ त्यस्तो किसिमको गोठालो हुनुहुन्छ जसले आफ्नो भेडाको निम्ति आफ्नो जीवन अर्पण गर्नुहुन्छ।
He was the shepherd whom gave his own life for the sheep.
उहाँले आफूलाई भन्नुभयो जसै गरिकन म चाहिँ असल गोठालो हुँ।
And so as he speaks of himself, he says that I am the good shepherd.
उहाँले भन्नुभयो जसै मैले मेरो जीवन प्राण चाहिँ मेरो भेडाहरूको निम्ति दिएको छु।
For he says that I have given my own life for the sheep.
किन धेरै मानिसहरू चाहिँ यो सेवकको बाटोमा हिँडिरहेका छन्?
Why was it that many people have entered and walked this path into this ministry?
आज हाम्रो पहिलो कक्षा भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि येशू ख्रीष्ट कस्तो गोठालो हुनुहुन्छ भन्ने विषयमा हामी कुरा गर्नेछौँ।
And so in our first session, we talked about how Jesus Christ, he is the shepherd.
हाम्रो लागि सफल सेवकाई हुनुभन्दा
In order for us to have successful ministry,
परमेश्वरले दिनुभएको आधारको कुरा चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ।
the most basic model which God has given us is Jesus Christ.
यसको मतलब यो होइन कि हामीसँग असल बानी व्यवहार हुनुपर्छ।
It's not that we have to have good characteristics.
यसको मतलब यो होइन कि हामीसँग राम्रो ज्ञान हुनुपर्छ।
It's not that we have to have great knowledge.
हामीले त्यो साँचो गोठालो येशू ख्रीष्ट विषयमा सिक्न जरुरत छ।
We need to learn about the true shepherd who is Jesus Christ.
हामीले चाहिँ उहाँले रोज्नु भएको बाटोलाई पछ्याउनु पर्दछ।
We must walk and follow the path which he took.
र उहाँले गर्नुभएको काम र उहाँले बोल्नुभएको कुरालाई हामीले प्रस्तुत गर्नु पर्दछ।
And we must also present the works in the words which he spoke of.
हामीले सिक्नु पर्दछ।
And we have to learn about the life which he lived.
त्यसै कारण बाइबलमा परमेश्वरले गोठालोको स्तर विषयमा उल्लेख गरिदिनु भएको छ।
And therefore, according to the Bible, God has placed the standard of a shepherd.
यदि तपाईले यूहन्ना 10 अध्यायको 1 पदमा हेर्नुहुन्छ भने
If you look into the words of John chapter 10 verse 1,
साँच्चै म तिमीलाई भन्दछु जो भेडा गोठको ढोकाबाट भित्र पस्दैन तर अर्को पट्टिबाट चढेर पस्छ त्यो चाहिँ चोर र डाकु हो।
it says, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, and same as a thief and a robber.
जब म त्यो गोठमा प्रवेश गर्छु यदि म त्यो ढोकाबाट पस्दिनँ भने त्यहाँ के हुन सक्छ?
And when I entered into this chapel, if I had not entered through the door, what would have...
र त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ पुलिस आएर चाहिँ मलाई लिएर जान्छ।
then the police would come and take me away.
साँच्चै नै उनीहरूले मलाई चाहिँ त्यो चोर र डाकु भनेर भन्नेछन्।
Surely they will describe me as a thief or a robber.
कस्तो किसिमको व्यक्ति चाहिँ गोठालो हो त?
So what kind of person is a shepherd?
त्यो व्यक्ति जो चाहिँ भेडाको गोठबाट प्रवेश गर्दछ।
He is the one who comes through the sheepfold, the door of the sheepfold.
जसरी तपाईले त्यो गोठमा प्रवेश गर्दाखेरि तपाईँ ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्नुहुन्छ,
And just as how when you enter into the chapel, you enter through the door.
हामीले त्यो गोठको झ्यालबाट होइन कि ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ।
In order for us to enter into the sheepfold, we must enter through the door.
यहाँनिर भेडाकोठको ढोका चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट भनेर भनिएको छ।
And the door to the sheepfold, it says, is Jesus Christ.
10 अध्यायको 2 पद,
Chapter 10, verse 2.
तर ढोकाबाट भित्र पस्ने चाहिँ भेडाको गोठालो हो।
But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep.
र 7 पद,
And verse 7.
यसकारण येशूले फेरि तिनीहरूलाई भन्नुभयो, साँच्चै म तिमीलाई भन्दछु, भेडाको ढोका मै हुँ।
Then said Jesus unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep.
येशू ख्रीष्टले उहाँ आफैले भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ,
Jesus Christ spoke himself.
जो चाहिँ त्यो ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दैन त्यो चाहिँ असल गोठालो होइन।
It says, Whosoever does not enter through the door is not the shepherd.
त्यस गोठालोको आधारको कुरा चाहिँ ऊ त्यो ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दछ।
The most basic attribute to the shepherd is that he enters through the door.
यदि तपाईँ ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्नुहुन्न भने तपाईँ डाकु अथवा चोरको रूपमा मानिनुहुनेछ।
If you do not enter through the door, then you are considered to be a thief or a robber.
यहाँनिर भनिएको छ तिनीहरू चाहिँ भाडाका मान्छेहरू हुन्।
It says that they are the hirelings.
त्यो ढोका चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ।
That door is Jesus Christ.
प्रेरित पावलले अन्य जातिहरूलाई म प्रेरित हुँ भन्दा
Apostle Paul, when he was called to be the apostle to the Gentiles,
त्यो बेलामा धेरै मानिसहरूले चाहिँ उसलाई प्रेरित हो भनेर मानेका थिएनन्।
at the time, many people did not consider him to be an apostle.
र उसले त्यो सुसमाचारको निम्ति शक्तिसँग काम गर्नुको पछाडि
But the reason behind him being able to work powerfully in the gospel,
ऊ येशू ख्रीष्ट मार्फत चाहिँ ऊ गोठालो हुन पुग्यो।
it's because through Jesus Christ, he became a shepherd.
जब हामीले विद्यार्थीहरूलाई थियोलोजी स्कुलमा भर्नाका निम्ति लिन्छौँ,
So when we recruit students to enter into our theology school,
हामीसँग अरू कुनै किसिमको स्तर हुँदैन।
we do not have any sort of other standard.
त्यहाँनिर 2 किसिमका स्तर मात्र हुन्छन्।
There are just 2 standards.
पहिलो स्तर चाहिँ तपाईँ 18 वर्षभन्दा माथिको हुनुपर्दछ।
The very first standard is that you must be over the age of 18.
किनभने कोरियाको विषयमा हेर्ने हो भने 18 वर्षभन्दा माथिको हुनुपर्छ अथवा युवा भएको कुराको सहमति हुनुपर्दछ।
It's because in the country of South Korea, you have to be over the age of 18 in order for you to be considered an adult without adult consent.
र दोस्रो स्तर चाहिँ तपाईँ नयाँ गरी जन्मेको व्यक्ति हुनुपर्दछ।
And the next standard is that you have to be a born again saint.
यदि तपाईँहरूमध्ये जसले यसको रगतद्वारा पाप क्षमाको उद्धार पाउनु भएको छ,
If you're somebody who received the forgiveness of sins through Jesus' blood,
अन्यथा ऊ जोसुकै भए तापनि भेडा गोठालोको निम्ति ऊ योग्य हुन सक्दैन।
then no matter who he may be, he is now qualified to become a shepherd of the sheep.
र अर्को शब्दमा भन्नुपर्दाखेरि जो व्यक्ति नयाँ गरी जन्मेको छैन ऊ चाहिँ भेडाहरूको गोठालोको निम्ति योग्य हुन सक्दैन।
In other words, if somebody is not born again, then he is not qualified to be a shepherd of the sheep.
येशू ख्रीष्ट आफैले भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ कि म भेडा गोठको ढोका हुँ।
Jesus himself says that I am the door to the sheepfold.
यदि तिमी मबाट आएको छैन भने तिमी ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गरेको छैनौ।
If you do not come through me, then that means that you have not come through the door.
यसले बताउँदछ कि ऊ चाहिँ डाकु अथवा चोर हो।
It describes that he then is a thief or a robber.
र धेरै मानिसहरूको लागि यो साँचो पाप क्षमा पाउँछन्।
And for many people, this fact that they have received forgiveness of sin,
र यसको सत्यता त्यो पनि हो कि उनीहरूले येशू ख्रीष्टद्वारा सबै कुरा गरेका छन्।
and also the fact that they are done through Jesus Christ.
यो बाहेक हामीले अरू योग्यताहरू हामी खोज्न थाल्दछौँ।
Other than this, we try to have many other qualifications.
कोरियामा पनि यस्ता धेरै किसिमका थियोलोजी स्कुलहरू छन्।
Even in Korea, there are many theology schools.
थियोलोजी स्कुलमा प्रवेश गर्नका निम्ति त्यहाँ धेरै शर्तहरू छन्।
In order for you to enter into the theology school, there are many conditions.
यद्यपि त्यो चाहिँ बाइबल स्तरको हुनुपर्दछ।
However, they must be biblical standards.
हामीले संसारका मानिसहरूलाई वृद्धि गर्नका निम्ति होइन,
We are not people that are constantly raising people of the world,
र तपाईँ साँच्चै नै त्यो भेडा गोठबाट प्रवेश गर्नुपर्दछ
but you must enter through the door of the sheepfold,
र हामीले चाहिँ त्यो गोठालोको त्यो बाटो हिँड्नुपर्दछ जसले चाहिँ भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर्दछ
and we must walk the path of the shepherd that takes care of the sheep.
जसै उनीहरू बाइबल स्तरद्वारा छानिन्छन् त्यो व्यक्तिहरू चाहिँ योग्यको हुन्छन्
And so as long as they are qualified according to the standards of the Bible, then they are suitable.
परमेश्वरको साँचो गोठालो विषयमा बाइबलमा व्याख्या गरिएको छ
The true servants of God described by the Bible,
उनीहरूले चाहिँ यो संसारको स्तरलाई मान्यता दिँदैनन्
they don't actually hold the standards of this world.
उनीहरूलाई त्यो संसारको ज्ञानहरू पनि हुँदैन
They don't have the knowledge of the world.
उनीहरूसँग संसारीय शक्ति पनि हुँदैन
They also don't have the power of the world.
साधारणतया जो चाहिँ यसक्रिस्टद्वारा काम गर्दछ त्यो चाहिँ गोठालोको निम्ति उत्तीर्ण भएको व्यक्ति हो
Simply those who are done through Jesus Christ, they are the ones who are qualified to walk into the path of the shepherd.
जो जति चाहिँ त्यो भेडा गोठको ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दैन उनीहरू चाहिँ गोठालो होइन
Whosoever does not enter into the door of the sheepfold, he is not a shepherd.
किनभने
Because
सबैजना जसले चाहिँ त्यो भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर्दछ
everyone, the one who takes care of the sheep is the shepherd.
यदि ऊ त्यो भेडा गोठको ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दैन भने ती भेडाहरूले पनि उसको आवाजलाई सुन्न सक्दैन
If he does not enter into the door of the sheepfold, then the sheep cannot listen to his voice.
किनभने भेडाहरूलाई आफ्नो गोठालोको आवाज थाहा हुन्छ
It's because the sheep, they know the voice of the shepherd.
यदि 3 पदमा हेर्नुहुन्छ भने
If you look at verse 3,
ढोकेले उसको लागि ढोका खोलिदिन्छ र भेडाहरूले उसको स्वर सुन्छन् र उसले आफ्ना भेडाहरूलाई नाउँ काडी काडी बोलाउँछ अनि तिनीहरूलाई बाहिर लैजान्छ
it says, verse 3, to him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice.
5 पद तर अपरिचित व्यक्तिलाई तिनीहरू पछ्याउँदैनन् तर त्यसदेखि भाग्नेछन् किनभने अपरिचित व्यक्तिको स्वर तिनीहरूले चिन्दैनन्
And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
बाइबलले हामीलाई के भन्दैछ
What is the Bible telling us?
जब हामी यसको ढोकामा प्रवेश गर्दछौँ
When we entered into the door of Jesus Christ,
त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ भेडाहरू छन्
there were the sheep.
यसको मतलब यो होइन कि हामीले ती भेडालाई भेला गरेका छौँ
It's not that we were the ones who gathered the sheep,
तर यसभित्र पहिले नै त्यहाँ भेडाहरू छन्
but inside of Jesus Christ was already the sheep.
जब हामी ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दछौँ
When we entered into the door,
त्यहाँनिर भएका भेडाहरूले चाहिँ हाम्रो आवाजलाई सुन्छन्
there were the sheep that understood and heard our voice.
धेरै व्यक्तिहरू छन् जो चाहिँ यो सेवकको बाटोमा हिँड्दाखेरि उनीहरू असफल भएका छन्
There are many people who walk into the path of ministry, but they're unable to be successful.
यसको मतलब चाहिँ उनीहरूले यसको त्यो भेडाहरूलाई हेरचाह गरेको छैनन्
That is because they're not taking care of the sheep of Jesus Christ,
उनीहरूले चाहिँ उनीहरूको आफ्नै भेडालाई हेरचाह गरेका छन्
but they are only taking care of their own sheep,
उनीहरूको आफ्नै चर्च
their own church,
उनीहरूको आफ्नै सदस्यहरू
their own members.
त्यो बाइबलले होइन
That is not biblical.
बाइबल अनुसार जब तपाईँ पास्टरको बाटो हिँड्नुहुन्छ
According to the Bible, when we walk into the path of pastorship,
पहिलो शर्त चाहिँ जो चाहिँ त्यो भेडागोठको ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दछ
the very first condition is those who enter into the door of the sheepfold.
तर उनीहरूले भन्दैन कि त्यो ढोका चाहिँ यसको हुनुहुन्छ
And did it not say that that door is Jesus Christ?
जब हामी त्यो ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दछौँ
When we enter into that door,
त्यहाँभित्र चाहिँ भेडाहरू छन्
inside of that were the sheep.
अर्को शब्दमा जुन त्यो ढोका यसुकृष्ण हुनुहुन्छ
In other words, that door is Jesus Christ.
र यद्यपि त्यहाँ भित्र भएका भेडाहरू पनि यसुकृष्णकै हुन्
And even the sheep themselves, they were of Jesus Christ.
सबैजना यदि हामी त्यो सफल सेवकको बाटोमा हिँड्छौँ भने
Everyone, if you were to walk into the path of successful ministry,
सबैभन्दा पहिलो कुरा चाहिँ हामी यसुकृष्णद्वारा गोठालो भएका हौँ
the very first thing is that we became a shepherd through Jesus Christ.
दोस्रो चाहिँ हामी ती भेडाहरूलाई सुन्ने र हेरचाह गर्ने गर्दछौँ
And secondly, we now herd and take care of the sheep.
जो जति चाहिँ असल गोठालो हुनुहुन्छ उनीहरूको आफ्नै भेडाहरू हुन सक्दैन
Everyone who is a true shepherd, he does not have his own sheep.
यसको मतलब चाहिँ तिनीहरू हाम्रा भेडाहरू होइनन्
It is because they are not our own sheep.
हामी चाहिँ यसुका भेडाहरूमा निहित छौँ
Because we belong to the sheep of Jesus,
त्यस कारणले हामीले गोठालो यसुद्वारा घाँसहरू उमार्नु पर्दछ
therefore we must gain the grass through the shepherd of Jesus.
हामीले यस ख्रीष्टद्वारा नै बुद्धिहरू पनि वृद्धि गर्नुपर्दछ।
We also must gain wisdom through Jesus.
ती चर्चहरूमा हुने त्यो विभाजनको कुराहरूमा पनि
However, why is there such a great division amongst churches?
यदि तपाईँले यस ख्रीष्टका भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर्नुहुन्छ भने त्यहाँ कुनै विभाजन हुँदैन।
If we are to take care of the sheep of Jesus Christ, then there is no division.
तर किनभने मानिसहरूले आफ्नै भेडाको हेरचाह गर्छन् त्यसैले गर्दाखेरि त्यहाँनिर विभाजन र भेदभावहरू हुँदछ।
But because people have their own sheep which they take care of, that's why there's so much division and there's separation.
10 अध्यायको 9 पद
Chapter 10, verse 9.
यहाँ यसो लेखेको छ, ढोका म नै हुँ, यदि कोही मानिस मबाट भित्र पस्यो भने त्यो बचाइनेछ र भित्र बाहिर आउने जाने गर्नेछ र खर्कमा चर्न पाउनेछ।
It says here, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.
सबैजना कृपया हाम्रो सेवाकाई चाहिँ यस ख्रीष्टद्वारा गरिनु पर्दछ।
Everyone, our ministry must be done through Jesus Christ.
जसै हामी ढोकाबाट आउने जाने गर्दछौँ,
As we come in and out through the door,
पास्टरको जिन्दगी चाहिँ उहाँद्वारा आउने जाने र खर्कमा चर्ने हुनुपर्दछ।
the life of the pastor is that he must gain the way through and find pasture through him.
मैले यो सफल सेवाका विषयमा वचन तयार गर्दै गर्दा
Everyone, as I prepare this lesson on successful ministry,
र मेरो मनभित्र मैले परमेश्वरप्रति एकदमै धन्यवादी पाइरहेको थिएँ।
inside of my heart, I receive so much gratitude toward God.
मैले उद्धार पाएँ
Oh, I have received salvation.
र परमेश्वरले चाहिँ मलाई त्यो भेडाको रूपमा बोलाउँदै हुनुहुन्छ।
God has called me to be his sheep.
जुन उहाँले मलाई गोठालोको रूपमा बोलाउँदै हुनुहुन्छ ती भेडाहरू चाहिँ मेरा हुन्।
As he has called me to become a shepherd, these sheep which I have are not mine,
तर वास्तवमा ती भेडाहरू चाहिँ यीशु ख्रीष्टको हो।
but they are actually the sheep that belongs to Jesus Christ.
मेरो लागि उनीहरूको हेरचाह गर्ने उनीहरूको खुवाउने कुरामा पनि
In order for me to be able to well feed them and take care of them,
कहाँबाट त्यो पास्टरको कुरा मैले पाउँदैछु?
where must I gain that pasture?
त्यो चाहिँ मैले यीशु ख्रीष्टभित्रबाट पाउँदैछु।
I must gain it from Jesus Christ.
यसको मतलब यो होइन कि त्यो पास्टरको ज्ञानहरू यो संसारबाट मैले पाउने होइन, बढाउनु पर्ने होइन।
It's not that I have to gain such pastures and knowledge from the knowledge and also the thesis of the world,
र मैले त्यो पास्टर पनि यीशु ख्रीष्टद्वारा पाउनु पर्दछ।
but I must gain pasture through Jesus Christ.
यदि तपाईँले 1 सामुएल 17 अध्याय हेर्नुहुन्छ भने
If you look in the words of 1 Samuel chapter 17,
त्यहाँनिर परमेश्वरको दास दाउद हुनुहुन्छ
there is a servant of God by the name of David.
र उसले चाहिँ कसरी त्यो भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गरेको कुरा छ।
How does it record of him taking care of his sheep?
र त्यसैले एक दिन जब ऊ भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर्दै गर्दा
And so one day as he was taking care of his sheep,
त्यहाँ लेखेको छ कि उसले चाहिँ आफ्नो बुवाको भेडाहरू हेरचाह गरिरहेको छ।
it says, for he was taking care of the sheep of his father.
यसको मतलब यो होइन कि उसले आफ्नो भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गरिरहेको छ,
It's not that he took care of his own sheep,
तर उसले चाहिँ त्यो आफ्नो बुवाको भेडाहरू हेरचाह गरिरहेको छ।
but he was taking care of the sheep of his father.
त्यसै समयमा को आयो?
Right then, who came?
त्यहाँनिर सिंह आएको छ,
Yes, there was a lion that came.
त्यहाँनिर भालुहरू आएको छ।
There was a bear that came.
त्यसो भने उसले के गरेको छ?
But what did he do then?
जुन समयमा ती सिंह र भालुहरूले त्यो भेडाहरूलाई लिएर जान खोजेको थियो,
During the time in which the lion and the bears, they tried to swallow up the sheep of his father,
ऊ आफै त्यहाँबाट भागेको छैन।
it's not that he ran away for himself,
तर त्यहाँ यसरी लेखिएको छ उसले आफ्नो बाबुका ती भेडाहरूलाई सिंह र भालुको मुखबाट बचाएको छ।
but it says that for the sheep of his father, he was able to save them from the mouth of the lion and the bears.
साँचो गोठालोले भेडाहरूको हेरचाह कसरी गर्दछ?
True shepherds, what kind of sheep have they taken care of?
यसले भनेको चाहिँ उसले आफ्नै भेडाहरू हेरचाह गरेको छैन।
It says that they did not take care of their own sheep.
त्यहाँनिर लेखिएको छ कि उसले चाहिँ आफ्नो बुबाको भेडाहरू हेरचाह गरिरहेको छ।
They actually took care of the sheep of their father.
त्यहाँनिर जसले आफ्नो पिताको भेडाहरूको निम्ति आफ्नो जीवन अर्पण गरेको छ।
They are those who given up their own lives for the sheep of their father.
र यो समयमा धेरै गोठालोहरू हुनुहुन्छ।
And so there are many shepherds of this time.
किन उनीहरूलाई बाइबलीय अनुसार भनेको बाटो हिँड्न गाह्रो छ?
Why is it that they're unable to walk into the path that is spoken of by the Bible?
जब उनीहरूले कठिनाइ भेट्छ त्यसलाई उनीहरू इन्कार गर्दछन्।
Whenever there are difficulties, they avoid it.
जब उनीहरूले आफ्नो जिन्दगीमा सतावट भेट्छन् उनीहरू त्यस जिन्दगीबाट भाग्छन्।
Whenever they receive threat in their lives, they run away from this life.
जुन भेडाहरू हामीसँग छ
This sheep which we have,
तिनीहरू हाम्रो भेडाहरू होइनन्।
they are not our own sheep.
तिनीहरू त्यस्तो होइन कि जुन चाहिँ हाम्रो आफ्नो मेहनत अनि आफ्नो परिश्रमद्वारा
They are not those whom we gain through our own efforts and our own diligence.
बढाउने र हाम्रो शक्तिद्वारा बढाउने होइन।
They are not those whom we gain through our own power.
तर ती भेडाहरू चाहिँ जुन येशू ख्रीष्टका हुन्
but they are the sheep of Jesus Christ.
त्यहाँनिर त्यस्ता व्यक्तिहरू छन् जसलाई हामीले पाउनुपर्छ पास्टरद्वारा त्यो चाहिँ हामीले येशू ख्रीष्टद्वारा खुवाउनु पर्दछ
They are those who we need to receive the pasture from Jesus Christ to feed them.
जब येशू ख्रीष्ट यो संसारमा फर्केर आउनुहुन्छ
And up until the time when Jesus returns to this world,
त्यहाँनिर जे जति चाहिँ हाम्रो हातमा छेडिक रूपमा छन्
they are those who have been temporarily entrusted into our hands.
लुकामा यसरी लेखिएको छ जहाँ चाहिँ उनीहरू दिन र रात नबनिकन उनीहरू आफ्नो भेडाको हेरचाह गर्दछन्
So inside the book of Luke, it records that without day or night, they continue to watch over their sheep.
यदि तपाईँले 17 पद हेर्नुहुन्छ भने
So then if you look at verse 17,
पिताले मलाई यसै कारण प्रेम गर्नुहुन्छ किनकि म आफ्नो प्राण फेरि फिर्ता लिने हेतुले अर्पण गर्छु
therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I may take it again.
यहाँनिर भएको भेडाहरू चाहिँ उनीहरूको होइन तर त्यो परमेश्वरको भेडाहरू हुन्
It's because these sheep, they are not the sheep of them, but the sheep of God.
र यसको कुरामा पनि उहाँले आफ्ना भेडाहरूलाई हेरचाह गर्नुभएको होइन
So even Jesus Christ himself, he did not take care of his own sheep,
तर उहाँले पनि आफ्नो पिताको भेडाहरू हेरचाह गर्नुभएको छ
but he took care of the sheep of his Father.
यहाँनिर भनिएको छ कि परमेश्वरको भेडाहरू हेरचाह गर्नका निम्ति उहाँले आफ्नो प्राण नै अर्पण गर्नुभएको छ
And it says that he forsook his own life, laid down his own life for the sheep of the Father.
सेवकको साँचो बाटो चाहिँ
The true path of a minister
त्यो त्यस्तो किसिमको बाटो होइन जहाँ चाहिँ आफ्नो लागि फाइदा हुन्छ
is not that he takes the path which benefits himself,
तर यो बाटो जहाँ चाहिँ उसले आफूलाई त्यागेर भेडाको हेरचाह गर्दछ
but it is the path which throws away himself for the sake of the sheep.
जो जति तपाईँले आफ्नो फाइदाको लागि गर्नुहुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ सेवकाको बाटो होइन
Whatever you do to benefit yourselves is not the path of ministry.
तर जसले चाहिँ आफ्नो भेडाहरूको निम्ति आफ्नो जीवन अर्पण गर्छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ सेवकै भनिन्छ
But for the sake of the sheep, whoever forsakes his path and forsakes his own life is those who walk the path of ministry.
यो बाटो जुन येशू ख्रीष्टले रोज्नुभयो
This is the path which Jesus took.
र ती व्यक्तिहरू जसले चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्टको त्यो बाटोलाई पछ्याउँदछ
And also those who take after Jesus Christ to walk in his path.
यसले भन्दछ कि ऊ चाहिँ त्यो येशू ख्रीष्टको एउटै बाटोमा हिँड्दछ
It says that they walked in the same way as Jesus Christ.
त्यसैले जब दाउदले आफ्नो भेडाहरू चलाउँदै गर्दा सिंह आएको छ
And so at the time when the lions came to devour up the sheep of David's sheep,
त्यो समय जब आफ्नो पिताको भेडाहरूलाई ती भालुहरूले खोसेर लान खोजेको छ
at the time when the bears came to take up the sheep of the Father.
त्यो तिखा नङ्ग्राहरूबाट
So from the sharp claws,
ती तिखा दाँतहरूबाट
from the sharp teeth,
उसले आफ्ना पिताका भेडाहरूलाई बचाएको छ
he was able to bring out the sheep of his Father.
सबैजना त्यो
How was he able to do that?
सिंहको मुखबाट
Everyone from the mouth of a lion.
त्यो भालुको नङ्ग्राहरूबाट
Yes, from the claws of the bear.
किनभने त्यो उनीहरूको होइन
That is because they do not belong to him.
किनभने त्यो चाहिँ उसको पिताको भेडाहरू थियो
It's because they are the sheep of his Father.
त्यसै कारणले गर्दाखेरि उसले आफ्नो जीवन त्यहाँ अर्पण गरेको छ
Therefore, he was able to live that life.
प्रियहरू हाम्रो भेडाहरू त्यहाँ छैन
Everyone, they are not the sheep of ours,
तर त्यहाँ परमेश्वरको भेडाहरू र येशू ख्रीष्टका भेडाहरू छन्
but they are the sheep of God and they are the sheep of Jesus Christ.
धेरै मानिसले सोच्छन् कि तिनीहरू चाहिँ मेरो भेडा हुन्
Many people think to themselves that they are their own sheep,
यदि त्यहाँनिर उनीहरूलाई कुनै फाइदा हुँदैन भने त्यहाँ टाढा नै दिने गरिन्छ
and if it does not benefit them and there's only a harm to them,
र उनीहरू आफ्नो फाइदाको लागि ती भेडाहरूलाई छोडिदिने गर्दछन्
then for their own sakes, what they do is they throw away the sheep
उनीहरू त्यस्तो बाटो पछाउँछन् जहाँ चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई अझै धेरै फाइदा हुँदछ
and they end up following the path which may benefit them more.
धेरै मानिसहरू चाहिँ यो सेवकाको बाटोमा प्रवेश गरेका छन्
Many people entered into this path of the ministry.
र धेरै व्यक्तिहरू छन् जो चाहिँ यो बाटोलाई त्यागेर आफ्नो बाटोमा गएका छन्
There are many people who have forsaken this precious path and have gone away.
किन यस्ता कुराहरूले त्यहाँ हक जमाइरहेको छ
Why are such things taking place like that?
किनभने उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ त्यो साँचो सेवकाको बाटो
It's
थाहा
because they
नभएकोले
do
हो
not know about the true path of the ministry.
त्यो साँचो सेवकाको बाटो चाहिँ यसको हामीलाई देखाउनु भएको छ
The true path of ministry which Jesus Christ has shown us.
यो चाहिँ त्यस्तो बाटो हो जहाँ चाहिँ हामीले त्यो मार्गदर्शन र पछ्याइहरू हामीले सिक्नु पर्दछ
This is the path which we must learn about to follow and receive guidance.
त्यसो हो भने हामी पनि हाम्रो सेवाकामा सफल हुन सक्दछौँ
If so, then we are also able to be successful in our ministry.
यसु ख्रीष्ट बाहेक सफलतापूर्वक सेवाकाई गर्ने त्यहाँ कुनै मानिस छैन।
There is no one who has done a more successful ministry than Jesus himself.
यसु ख्रीष्टको बाटो भन्दा त्यहाँ कुनै पूर्णता भएको सेवाकाईको बाटो छैन।
And there is no more perfect ministry than the path of Jesus Christ.
यदि हामीले त्यो बाटो पछ्याउँछौँ भने साँच्चै हामी पनि सफल हुन सक्दछौँ।
If we follow that path, then we will surely be successful.
ती व्यक्तिहरू जसको ती आफ्नै भेडा होइनन्,
Those who are with us, they are not our own sheep,
तर तिनीहरू चाहिँ यसु ख्रीष्ट र परमेश्वरका भेडाहरू हुन्।
but they are the sheep of Jesus Christ and also of God.
हामी चाहिँ छेडे रूपमा हेरचाहका निम्ति खटाएका व्यक्तिहरू मात्रै हौँ।
We are people that have temporarily been overtaking them.
यसको मतलब यो होइन कि उनीहरूले हाम्रो आवाज अनि हामीलाई पछ्याइरहेका छन्।
And it's not that they follow and listen to our voice,
मानिलिउँ त्यो गोठालोले आफ्नै आवाजले त्यहाँ बोलाउँदैछ,
but they are those who listen and follow the voice of Jesus Christ.
हामीसँग अरू कुनै उपाय नभएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि त्यो
Let's say that a shepherd were to make his own voice.
भाडाको मान्छेको आवाजलाई सुन्छौँ।
We have no choice but to follow the path of a hireling.
यद्यपि तपाईँले यसको विषयमा कुरा गर्नु भए तापनि,
However, if we were to speak about Jesus Christ,
यद्यपि हामीले भित्र बाहिर आउने जाने गरेर पास्टरले काम बढाए तापनि,
whether we may enter or may come out, we are able to gain pastures.
त्यसद्वारा हामीले आफ्ना भेडाहरूलाई खुवाउन सक्छौँ
And through that, if we're able to feed our sheep,
र म मेरो भेडाहरूसँगै म आशिषित हुन सक्छु जसलाई मैले हेरचाह गरिरहेको छु।
then I will be blessed, and along with me, all the sheep that are there that I'm taking care of.
त्यसै कारणले परमेश्वरले हामीलाई यो भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ।
That's why the Lord said this to us.
हामी फिलिपी 2 अध्याय हेर्नेछौँ।
Look in the words of Philippians chapter 2,
2 अध्यायको 5 पद,
chapter 2, verse 5.
तिमीहरूमा यस्तो मन होस् जो ख्रीष्ट येशूमा पनि थियो।
Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus.
6 पद, परमेश्वरको स्वरूपमा भएर पनि उहाँले परमेश्वरको बराबरी हुने कुरालाई एउटा पक्रिराख्ने वस्तुहरू जस्तै ठान्नु भएन।
Who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God,
तर आफूलाई रिताइकन कमारोको रूपमा धारण गरेर तथा मनुष्य भएर जन्मनु भयो।
but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men.
स्वरूपमा मानिस जस्तै भएर आफूलाई होच्याउनु भयो र मृत्यु समय अर्थात् क्रुसको मृत्यु समय आज्ञाकारी रहनुभयो।
And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even unto the death of the cross.
यो चाहिँ बाबुले हामीलाई भन्दछ,
This is what the Bible tells us.
तिमीहरूमा पनि यस्तो मन होस् जो ख्रीष्ट येशूमा पनि थियो।
Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus.
जो मन त्यो गोठालोसँग हुनुपर्दछ,
The heart which the shepherd needs to have.
त्यो चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्टको मन हो।
That is the heart of Jesus Christ.
र हाम्रो हरेक व्यक्तिगत कुराहरूमा हामीले आफ्नो शक्ति र बुद्धि बढाउनु पर्ने होइन।
Each and every individual, it's not that we have to strengthen our own ability and our power,
र हामी हरेक गोठालोहरूमा येशू ख्रीष्टको मन जस्तै हामीमा हुनुपर्दछ।
but in each and every one of our shepherds, we need to contain the heart of Jesus Christ.
यहाँ भनेको छ परमेश्वरको स्वरूपमा भएर पनि उहाँ परमेश्वरको बराबरी हुने।
It says he that who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God,
तर आफूलाई रिताइकन कमारको रूपमा धारण गरेर तथा मनुष्य भएर जन्मनु भयो।
and made no reputation of himself, and took upon the form of a servant.
साँचो गोठालो चाहिँ
The true shepherd
ती हुन् जसले चाहिँ आफूलाई रित्याउँदछ।
are those who empty themselves.
येशू ख्रीष्टको रूपद्वारा
And through the image of Jesus Christ,
ऊ चाहिँ परमेश्वरको सृष्टि हो,
he was by nature God.
तर आफैलाई रित्याइकन कमारको रूप धारण गरेर तथा मनुष्य भएर जन्मनु भयो।
However, he did not consider himself not robbery to be equal with God, and made no reputation of himself, and took the form of a servant.
यसको मतलब चाहिँ उहाँ हाम्रो रूपमा आउनुभयो अर्थात् पापमा आउनुभयो।
And so that means that he came in the form of us who had sinned.
उहाँ परमेश्वर हुनुहुन्छ,
He was God,
तर उहाँ मानिसको रूपमा आउनुभयो
but he came in the form of man.
र उहाँ हामीलाई बचाउनका निम्ति हुनुहुन्थ्यो।
And he was there to save us.
यहाँनिर स्पष्ट भनेको छ कि गोठालो चाहिँ त्यो ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्नुपर्दछ।
And when it says that the shepherd, he must enter in through the door of the sheepfold.
ती व्यक्तिहरू जो येशू ख्रीष्टमा छैनन्,
Those who are not through Jesus Christ.
ती व्यक्तिहरू जसले चाहिँ यसको द्वारा उद्धार पाएका छैनन्
those who did not receive salvation through Jesus Christ.
तिनीहरूलाई भन्दछ कि तिनीहरू चाहिँ गोठाला होइनन्
They say that they are not the shepherd.
त्यो चाहिँ भाडाका मान्छेहरू हुन्
He is a hireling.
स्पष्ट रूपमा बाइबलले भन्दछ
Surely the Bible tells us,
ऊ चाहिँ परमेश्वरको लागि थियो
for he was God,
र ऊ चाहिँ हामी जस्तै मानिसको रूपमा आउनुभयो
but he came in the exact same form of the flesh as we.
अझै पनि हामी मानिसहरूमध्ये
And still many people amongst us
र अझै पनि त्यहाँ धेरै मानिसहरू छन् जसले येशू ख्रीष्ट जो परमेश्वरको पुत्रलाई विश्वास गर्दैनन्
there are still many people who do not believe Jesus who came to this earth 2,000 years ago to be the Son of God.
स्वर्ग र पृथ्वीको नाम जेसुकै भए पनि
And no matter what name of heaven and earth,
परमेश्वरले उद्धार पाउनका निम्ति अरू कुनै नाम हामीलाई दिनुभएको छैन
God has not given us any other name for us to receive salvation through.
त्यहाँनिर एउटा मात्रै ढोका छ
There is only one door,
त्यो चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ
that is Jesus Christ.
हामीले सेवकको रूपमा जिउनका निम्ति एउटै मात्र बाटो चाहिँ
The only way for us to live as a minister,
त्यो चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्टद्वारा गरिएको हुनुपर्दछ
it must be done through Jesus Christ.
हामीले ती भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर्नु पर्दछ
However, we must take care of the sheep,
तर त्यो भेडाहरू हाम्रो होइन
but those sheep are not ours,
तर तिनीहरू चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्टका भेडाहरू हुन्
but they are the sheep of Jesus Christ.
त्यसै कारणले ती भेडाहरू छेडी समयका निम्ति हाम्रो जिम्मामा दिएको छ
Therefore, they are the sheep which has been temporarily entrusted to us.
उहाँले हामीलाई विश्वासको बाटो र वचनको बाटोमा डोराउनका निम्ति आज्ञा गर्नुभएको छ
In order for us to lead them into the path of faith, into the path of the world,
हामीले आउने जाने गर्दा पास्टरको काममा अघि बढ्न सकिन्छ
we, as we go in and also out, we must gain pasture.
किनभने त्यो ढोका चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ
Because that door belongs to Jesus Christ.
हामीले चाहिँ ती भेडाहरूलाई खुवाउनका निम्ति खानेकुराहरू तयार गर्नुपर्दछ
We must prepare the food for us to be able to feed the sheep.
त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ हामीले हाम्रो आफ्नै खाना तयार गर्नुपर्ने कुरा होइन
It is not that we are there to prepare our own food,
हामीले चाहिँ त्यो येशू ख्रीष्टद्वारा आफ्नो भेडाहरूलाई खुवाउन सक्ने गरी त्यो पास्टरको काम बढाउन सक्छौँ
but we are able to gain the pastures through Jesus to feed our sheep.
त्यसै कारणले गर्दाखेरि येशू ख्रीष्टले हामीलाई भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ
Therefore, Jesus spoke unto us.
मेरा भेडाहरूको हेरचाह गर
He says to take after me.
यदि तपाईँ येशू ख्रीष्टद्वारा आफ्नो पास्टरको कामलाई अगाडि बढाउन सक्नुहुन्छ भने
If you're able to gain pastures through Jesus Christ,
र त्यहाँनिर अर्को गोठालो हुन्छ जसले चाहिँ तपाईँको हेरचाह गर्नुहुन्छ
then there will be other shepherds who will also take after you.
यसको मतलब यो होइन कि तपाईँ पछि उसले हेरचाह गर्ने कुरा होइन
It's not that they are taking after you,
येशू ख्रीष्ट जसले चाहिँ म पछि हेरचाह गर्नुहुन्छ
but the Jesus Christ whom I took after.
यसको मतलब म होइन म चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुँ
Then that would mean that I am not me, but I am Jesus Christ.
यद्यपि ती भेडाहरूले नै आफैको त्यो पास्टरको कामको त्यो हेरचाह गर्न खोजेको जस्तो देखे तापनि र उनीहरूले म पछि हेरचाह गर्ने
And even though it may seem as though that the sheep, as they are coming to eat of the pastures, they would take after me,
तर वास्तवमा उनीहरूले येशू ख्रीष्टलाई हेरचाह गरिरहेका छन्
but in reality they would take after Jesus Christ.
त्यसै कारणले गर्दाखेरि विश्वासको दास चाहिँ
Therefore, the servants of faith,
म पछि हेरचाह गर्नु
it says to take after me,
त्यो मानिस पछिको होइन
not to take after that person,
ऊ चाहिँ त्यो येशू ख्रीष्टभन्दा बाहिर आएर त्यो छनौट गरेको छ
but because he came out of the true shepherd, who is Jesus Christ.
तपाईँले त्यो येशू ख्रीष्टद्वारा त्यो पास्टरको कुरा वृद्धि गर्नुभएको कारण
And because you gain pastures through Jesus,
त्यसै कारणले गर्दाखेरि उहाँ चाहिँ येशू ख्रीष्ट हुनुहुन्छ
therefore he is Jesus Christ.
उहाँ मार्फत येशू ख्रीष्टको उदाहरण हुनेछ
Through him, Jesus is exemplified,
र तपाईँले येशू ख्रीष्ट मार्फत खुवाउनुहुन्छ
and you feed through Jesus,
तपाईँ येशू ख्रीष्टद्वारा ढाकेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि
and because you clothe through Jesus,
र उनीहरूले येशू ख्रीष्टले जिउनु भएको जिन्दगी जस्तै जिउन सक्नुहुन्छ
they're able to live the exact same life as Jesus Christ.
यो चाहिँ बाइबलले हामीलाई यसरी भन्दछ
This is what the Bible tells us.
येशू ख्रीष्टप्रति हेरचाह गर्नु
It says to take after Jesus Christ.
यो मन चाहिँ तपाईँ र हामीमा हुनुपर्दछ
It says to have this mind be in you.
उहाँ परमेश्वरको स्वरूपमा आउनु भएर
For he came in the form of God,
तर आफैलाई रिताइकन कर्मको रूपमा धारण गरेर तथा मनुष्य भएर जन्मनुभयो
but thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but he made himself no reputation and took upon him the form of a
यहाँ
servant.
लेखिएको छ स्वरूपमा मानिस जस्तै भएर आफूलाई होच्याउनु भयो र मृत्यु समय अर्थात् क्रुसको मृत्यु समय आज्ञाकारी
And
रहनुभयो
it says, and being found as a man, that he humbled himself, became obedient even unto
र
death.
उहाँले त्यो क्रुसको दुःख र पीडा पाउनुभयो
And he received the punishment of the cross.
येशू क्रिस्ट चाहिँ त्यो उद्धारको ढोका हुनुहुन्छ
For Jesus Christ, he is the door to salvation,
र उहाँ गोठालाहरूको लागि ढोका पनि हुनुहुन्छ
and he also is the door to the shepherd.
सफल सेवाका विषयमा सिक्नका निम्ति
In order for us to be able to learn about successful ministry,
र सबैभन्दा पहिलो कुरा चाहिँ हामी येशू क्रिस्टद्वारा प्रवेश गर्नुपर्दछ
the very first thing is that we must enter in through Jesus Christ.
यदि तपाईँले येशू क्रिस्टद्वारा गर्नुभएको छैन भने
If we are not done through Jesus Christ,
हामी गोठालो होइनौँ तर भाडाका मान्छे हुन्छौँ
then we are not the shepherds, but we are only the hireling.
यदि त्यहाँ समस्या छ भने
If there are difficulties,
यदि त्यहाँ समस्या छ भने
if there are problems,
अवश्य पनि हामी त्यसबाट भाग्छौँ
then surely we will run away.
बाइबलमा दाउदले भनेको छ
Everyone, David said in the Bible,
जब उसले आफ्नो बाबुका भेडाहरू हेरचाह गर्दै गर्दा सिंह र भालुहरू आएको थियो
when he took care of the sheep of his father, when there was a lion or a bear that would come after his sheep,
त्यहाँनिर भनेको छ कि उसले आफ्नो पिताका भेडाहरूलाई चाहिँ ती भालु र सिंहको मुख र पन्जाबाट चाहिँ बचाएको छ
it says that there he was able to save the sheep of his father out from the claws and the mouth of the lions and bears.
र ती गोठालाहरू जसले आफ्नो जीवन अर्पण गर्छन् ती भेडाहरूको लागि
The shepherd are those who forsake their own lives for the sake of the sheep.
त्यो चाहिँ गोठालो हो
That is a shepherd.
गोठालो चाहिँ आफ्नो लागि जिउँदैन
The shepherds don't live for themselves,
उसले ती भेडाहरूको निम्ति आफैलाई पूर्ण रूपमा त्याग्दछ
but they sacrifice themselves for the sake of the sheep.
यद्यपि हामीसँग आज धेरै गोठालोहरू भए तापनि
Even though we have many shepherds today,
तर ती व्यक्तिहरू जो चाहिँ आफ्नै फाइदाको लागि जिउँदछन्
but there are those who live for their own benefit.
उनीहरू चाहिँ भाडाका मान्छेहरू हुन्
They are hirelings.
ती व्यक्तिहरू जसले चाहिँ आफैलाई ती भेडाहरूको निम्ति त्याग्दछ
There are those who forsake themselves for the sake of the sheep.
तिनीहरू त्यस्ता व्यक्तिहरू जो चाहिँ यस क्रिस्टको जिन्दगी जिउने व्यक्तिहरू हुन्
They are those who live the life of Jesus Christ. Then.
तपाईँहरू जब यो यस क्रिस्टको त्यो बाटोमा हिँड्नुहुन्छ
Everyone, as we walk through this path of Jesus Christ,
हामीले चाहिँ त्यो एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा सिक्नु पर्दछ
we must learn the most important thing.
सबैभन्दा पहिलो कुरा चाहिँ हामीले त्यो गोठालोले छिर्ने ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्नुपर्दछ
The very first thing is that we must pass through the door of the shepherd.
र दोस्रो कुरा चाहिँ हामीले यस क्रिस्टका भेडाहरूको चाहिँ हेरचाह गर्नुपर्दछ
And secondly, we must take care of the sheep of the flock of Jesus Christ.
र गोठालो भित्र बाहिर गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ उसले पास्टरको रूपमा अझ अगाडि बढ्न सक्दछ
And the life of the shepherd is that as he goes in and out of the door, he must gain pasture.
यदि हामी त्यो बाटोमा हिँड्न सक्छौँ भने
If we're able to walk this path,
त्यस पश्चात हामीले यस क्रिस्टको त्यो आशिष र सेवकको बाटोमा हिँड्न सक्छौँ
then through Jesus Christ, we're able to learn about the blessed and beautiful path of ministry.
हामीहरू आफ्नै विचार अनि बुद्धिद्वारा त्यो बाटोमा हिँड्न सक्ने होइनौँ
We are not those who are able to walk in this path through our own wisdom and our own power.
यो संसारमा धेरै थियोलोजी स्कुलहरू छन्
There are many theology schools in this world today.
र धेरै मानिसहरू चाहिँ कसरी पास्टर हुने र यो सेवकको बाटोमा हिँड्दै हुनुहुन्छ र सिक्दै हुनुहुन्छ
Many people are learning about how to become a pastor and they're walking to this path of ministry.
यद्यपि यो सेवकको बाटो विस्तृत रूपमा सिक्नका निम्ति
However, in order for us to precisely learn about this path of ministry,
हामी चाहिँ बाइबलमा फर्किनु पर्दछ
we must return to the Bible
हामीले चाहिँ यी सबै कुराहरू त्यो सत्य गोठालो जुन चाहिँ यस क्रिस्ट हुनुहुन्छ उहाँबाट सिक्नु पर्दछ
and we must learn of these things through the true shepherd who is Jesus Christ.
यस क्रिस्ट बाहेक त्यहाँहरू कुनै पूर्ण भएको गोठालाहरू हुनुहुन्न
There is no more perfect shepherd than Jesus.
यदि यस क्रिस्टद्वारा होइन भने
If it's not through Jesus Christ,
त्यसो भने हामी चाहिँ त्यो भाडाका मान्छेहरूको बाटोमा हिँडिरहेका छौँ
then we will walk into the path of a hireling.
यदि हामी यस क्रिस्टद्वारा सिक्छौँ र उहाँद्वारा त्यो पास्टरको कुरा कामहरू अगाडि गर्छौँ भने
Everyone, if we learn through Jesus Christ and are able to gain the pastures through Him,
र हामी चाहिँ यस क्रिस्ट मार्फत चाहिँ त्यो महिमित जिन्दगी उहाँसँगै जिउन सक्छौँ
then through Jesus Christ we will gain the glorious life together in Him.
यो पहिलो कक्षामा हामीले सफल सेवाका विषयमा कुरा गऱ्यौँ
In our very first session, we discussed about successful ministry.
हामी हाम्रो अरू कक्षाहरूमा चाहिँ यो सेवकको बाटोमा हिँडेका मानिसहरूलाई चाहिँ बाइबलद्वारा हेर्नेछौँ
And for our following sessions, we will look into each and every person in the Bible who has lived this path of successful ministry.
यो छोटो समयमा जे हामीले बाँड्यौँ
through the very short time which we're given.
र साँच्चै नै यसले चाहिँ सबै पास्टरहरूलाई चाहिँ त्यो सफल सेवकको जिन्दगी सिक्ने विषयमा सहयोग पुर्याउँदछ।
We truly hope that all of our pastors are able to learn about successful ministry.
र यस मार्फत चाहिँ आफ्ना भेडाहरूलाई साँचो पास्टर मार्फत खुवाउन सक्ने गरी सहयोग पुग्नेछ।
And I truly hope that all of our sheep are also able to live and be able to be feeded off of the true pastures.
हाम्रो यो पहिलोको चाहिँ हामी यहीँ सघाउनेछौँ।
So we will conclude our very first session here.
धन्यवाद।
Thank you.